I've always liked the fact that hip hop was a very sort of outspoken genre of music, and I feel like it's almost like you had to be cut from a certain ilk or a certain cloth to be able to, you know, be fully embraced or accepted. And I kind of like that there was a certain level of competition that hip hop had that I didn't necessarily see in any other genre of music. That was something that attracted it to me a lot, but it wasn't until I heard Dizzy Rascal, who's a British rapper, and then for the first time I heard somebody who I was really into as much as the Americans, talking about British things and things that were relatable to me, things that I could understand, the names of places and areas and just normal regular things. So once I heard that, that's what made me want to start rapping. And what really makes an artist stand out is their identity. The more things you can associate with somebody, the better. You know, if you think of Jay-Z, you think New York, you think Beyonce, you think businessman, you think, you know, rapper. There's so many layers of his identity. So I feel like, you know, being British and coming from where I've come from, even coming from a place that has such a great history of music alone, has been something that's been very helpful in terms of helping me get out to appeal to the rest of the world, you know. And I never ever will try and go against that, you know, because I think it's been a great thing. But what I do also believe is that I want to get to the point where I'm just international, because when you say Jay-Z, you may think New York, but you don't necessarily, that's not necessarily the first thing you think. You just think, oh, Jay-Z, yeah, I know Jay-Z, you know, or Kanye West, yeah, I know Kanye West, or even, not even rap, just any other genre of music, especially the different genres of music. You never really think about where the person's from, you know. So Britain is definitely where my heart is, and my music will always have, you know, a sense of Britishness within it, but the ambition is to definitely kind of have the same impact I had there everywhere else, and to become an international brand, but that is from England. Yeah. 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 Yeah, any, meany, money. Thank God it's Friday. Please don't ask me for my ID. If I'm in your iTunes library, got my own book in my library. My mansion is so tidy, but my neighbors ain't my mistress, cause she never wear no nightie. I go Claridge's to do high tea. Jordan's on like Spike Lee. I'm high gang, you're high street. Swagger jack in my styling. When I was a kid, I used to save up for my Nikes. Now all these little kids is trying to save up for my Nikes. Go! My take on just how things are hip-hop, rap wise, in the US and the UK, and the differences is, I would probably just say that, you know, hip-hop is just slightly a little bit more ahead of us, where it's something that originated in America. It's definitely a firm part of the culture. You know, I say this because you can have a middle-aged, you know, middle-class woman from America who has grown up on hip-hop, because that's how long it's been around. You know, a lot of these people, like, you know, for example, Jay-Z has been around for a very long time, you know, 20 years almost. So it's, yeah, I would say that it's just a lot more ahead. They've been able to do something which I don't think the UK has been able to do perfectly yet, but you know, they have a lot of independent kind of business models of being able to take an artist and develop an artist. So they have the Cash Moneys, they have Rock Nation, you know, even Drake has his OVO now. You know, there's so many different kind of midpoints between the artist and the major record label, where they can have their crew, their identity. Kanye West has good music, and all these things are, you know, they exist and they're relevant and they work and they help. Wiz Khalifa, Taylor Gang, you know. So I'd say for that reason as well, they're definitely a little bit more advanced in that sense. I'd say British rappers are, we've been able to form our own identity, which has been amazing, and I feel like that was the struggle, and that was even the struggle for a lot of countries and major cities that are inspired by hip-hop. You know, when you see something the first time, you just want to try and emulate it and it takes a while to be able to get your identity. And I feel like in the UK now, we've got to the point where we have our own identity. We have a very strong scene, you know, with a lot of great talents. But yeah, just that middle model that the Americans have, you know, that I was telling you about, the place where an artist can be developed, an artist can learn more about themselves, an artist can be put through their paces a little bit more and understand the business. I feel we're kind of lacking that a little bit, but you know, all in time, you know, of course, America's always trailblazing and leading the way, so naturally we will kind of find our feet when it comes to that. But yeah, I think, you know, America is another place where, because of the size of America and the population, you have some areas that are predominantly, you know, you can have an artist who's a rapper or a hip-hop artist that is just successful in their own state, whereas England or France is as big as one state in America. So for that reason as well, it's very different, you know. You have to remember, as well as people listen to hip-hop in France or in England, there's a big majority of French and English people that listen to other things and are into different kinds of music, whereas in America you can have millions and millions and millions of just hip-hop fans. So yeah, that's another big difference, but we're getting there. And I think what's helping in the UK is being able to get the right balance between, you know, having music that does sound authentic and urban and like it's come from the underground, but with a good balance of, you know, popular music elements and crossover elements for the mainstream audience as well. And that's something that I definitely try and play on a lot when it comes to my music.
Shake, 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 tambourine. Trampoline. Shake, 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 trampoline. Trampoline. Sharing clothes, that's rampy. Splitting bills, that's rampy. Pull the tanky blanky, now her handprints on my backseat. I'm just strictly speaking, I'm frankly. Yeah, all my girls is fancy in a white Ferrari Spider, rolling with a Nancy and dip low to disco. She step whoa, she wine like she Riri and wine to calypso. She asked me if I'm single, I said maybe, I think so. I can't concentrate when that phone's on like Cisco.
Those are stage by stage, so while you're creating it, I don't necessarily think you're thinking about the selling of it or the or even the mass appeal of it, or I don't necessarily think you think about that. When I create, I just think about what I'm trying to make at the time, and then it's only afterwards I think about, all right, cool, it's time to get it out, it's time to promote it, it's time to, I never think about that when I make it. So yeah, I mean, dealing with that is good, because I feel like being an artist of modern day and being an artist of this new generation, even before I was with a record label, I had to promote myself anyway, and I had to market myself, and I had to get myself discovered and heard by people. So it's something that is not unusual to me, you know, it's something that I kind of innately I'm always aware of, you know. But for me, I felt like this second record was important, and I just wanted to take myself away from everything that was happening in my life. It was such a big change from like the first album, no one really knowing who I was, and then afterwards this big explosion. So depending on what day it was, I was in a different part of the world doing a TV show or a festival, or, you know, my own show, or so I wanted to just pull away from it and just concentrate solely and creatively on making this body of work. I had in my head who I wanted on the records. A lot of the songs that you heard, you know, I got sent, they sounded very different originally, and then with work and work and work, for example, Tears Run Dry, I went back and forth with the producer 37 times. So I don't think I was thinking about selling it when I was saying change this, change that, change this, change that. And then now we're at this stage where it's time to bring out the album. That's when I start thinking about how I want people to receive it, you know. So it is very much a step-by-step process. I needed to go back to England for a better sense of reality and realness. You know, America's a great place, and America's somewhere that embraces success. But I feel like in LA, everything was too great and too awesome all the time, you know. And I feel like in Europe, especially, you know, England, for me, people are a lot more real and just more blunt. This is what I think, whether you like it or not, you know. And I feel like I needed to hear that, you know, when I was making my second record. I wanted to be critical. I wanted to be in the right environment where I had ears around me that I could trust, you know, and I could only really get that from England, and that's why. And in terms of like the references and stuff, I don't necessarily think that they got more American, but I just think, you know, the influence of what you hear out there, you know, is so overwhelming. In America, you know, for the majority of the radio stations, they will have like 10 songs on rotation, one after the other, and then back again, and then back again, and back again. So being someone who, like you said, does think about the business aspect of it, one can't help but listen to this sound and be like, okay, cool, so this is what they really like here, let me incorporate it, because that's what I do with my music anyway. So to get a better sense of reality, I felt like being able to do that at home would just be better for me at this stage of my career, and that's why I went back very quickly. Like, I was in America for a month, I said, nope, all right, cool, let's go back home. What's this, Sennheiser? Oh, vintage, nice. Hello, hello, hello.